Hello,
Today
Beth.
we're
Welcome
down
to
under
sunny
Sydney.
Sydney.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Paul Rushworth-Brown, host of Down Under Interviews, History Bards, in association with Meet the Author, indie book source over in the US. And I'm here with a wonderful author, James Gault. James has written an amazing book called Knight versus Bishop. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks, Paul. You're very kind.
Owerd, the son of a humble English miller, has risen to Earl through courage, warrior skills, and loyalty to the Norman King William. Owerd finds himself navigating a perilous world where loyalty and betrayal intertwine. His courage and tactical prowess shine as he battles to protect his people. His confrontations with Bishop Odo test his resilience and leadership. Amidst it all, his secret love affair adds a personal determination, highlighting the sacrifices he must make. In a final, desperate siege, Owerd fights for his legacy, his unyielding spirit defining his struggle for survival, honor, and love. A gripping novel that is guaranteed to keep readers entertained for hours on end.
I've heard about these flaws.
We're not talking about me. We're talking about Owerd. Honour and integrity win out in the end is the idea. Set in England in the 11th century, just before the Norman invasion, when he's a young chap, and he goes through what often would happen in a family where the eldest son takes the business of his father, which is a miller, and he gets to either choose a plough, the church, or a warrior. As it transpires, he goes the church route, so becomes a novice monk for a while. And that's really what sets him on the road to success in the world, because it's pretty obvious that his talents are more in the soldiering line. So he becomes a soldier. He protects Harold, who became later king, saves his life, not once but twice as it happens, ends up being knighted, and then the Normans arrive.
But he actually started off as a miller's son, didn't he?
Yes, his father was a miller, but he was the youngest son, so he couldn't really take on the business. A miller, can only support one person really, or a small family anyway.
Step into the rugged world of Plymouth, 1620, where Sarah, a courageous woman, embarks on an unforgiving journey in the New World. Amidst the treacherous unknown, she faces starvation, death, and the harsh realities of early colonial life. On the wings of the red-tailed hawk, masterfully weaves historical authenticity with an inspiring tale of resilience, as Sarah discovers her inner strength to survive against overwhelming odds. This award-winning novel, lauded for its evocative writing and powerful portrayal of women's triumphs in history, is a must-read for lovers of gripping historical fiction. Join Sarah on her harrowing yet empowering journey and witness the indomitable spirit that defines the true pioneers of America.
Wrenching story of Tabitha, a mother whose joy is shattered by unforeseen tragedy during the birth of her second child. Faced with the devastating consequences of medical errors, Tabitha must navigate life-altering decisions, balancing her job, her mother's deteriorating health, and the needs of her children. Amidst pain and trauma, Tabitha embarks on an inspiring journey of courage, love, and resilience to reclaim her happiness and heal what's broken inside.
He's a sort of wannabe man in many ways. I don't count myself quite in the same way, maybe, but I do show in the story that he has his flaws. And of course, don't we all? Spoiler alert, he ends up with 3 wives, all of different backgrounds. Not that he divorces any of them. He treats them all honourably and well, and they're all strong women who help him in his progress in life.
So in the story, Owerd has a dark and dangerous, villainous antagonist. Do you want to talk about him?
Owen of Bayeux. Bayeux, a small town in Normandy. And Odo was appointed a bishop as a teenager by his half-brother, William, who became the conqueror. Odo was anything but a religious person. He carried a club in battle. He was, if nothing else, avaricious. He ended up with more land in England than anyone else except the king. And bear in mind that from an English perspective, all Normans were bastards. So he just happened to be the supreme one, and he was an ideal villain of the story.
So he was actually a real person, wasn't he?
Oh yes, he was a real person. Any descendants, it's fiction, right?
And I mean, was it difficult to? I mean, obviously, the research, it must have been very, very difficult to like research,
Yes.
him as a person and what he was actually like.
So the research has to be the heavy dose of reading.
Before the show, we were talking, and you said that every good story has to have a bit of blood, a bit of battle, and a bit of spice in it. Do you want to expand on that comment?
Well, sex and violence. Sex makes the world go round. I'm told, and it certainly has to be there. And I realised I needed a new hero, and so hence Owerd. And even now, I think maybe I'd be quite happy for my teenage kids to read it. Sex is there; it's going to happen. But I've been conservative in my exposure of it. Violence was an essential element of life in the 11th century. It was just everywhere. And it's pretty boring to read if you don't have any. So again, I've been less descriptive as some authors who like to see heads rolling off every second page. So it's there, but it's not in your face. It's meant to be, and I think the reader will find, that it's a sit down in a good comfortable chair and sit back and enjoy the ride. It's just meant to be a good yarn, as we call them in Australia. I must admit that a lot of historical fiction readers are academics and pernickety about their detail. So I've been very conscious of that.
So when Owerd does become an earl and he has his acres of land and all that type of thing, I mean, coming from his background, how did he learn to deal with all the issues that come up with regard to these people that live on his land and have to pay rent to him and all that type of thing?
The first scene of the latest book, which is the Knight versus Bishop, is him riding home with his earldom and his earldom scrolls in his saddlebags, and not knowing what to do. So he's just got to get on with it. And I think he's a man that I try and portray as without arrogance.
Being an ex-Navy captain, what sort of things or experiences generally did you take from obviously your career over a period of 20 years.
You can't be risk averse. I mean, the whole purpose is to go into harm's way and in all sorts of different ways. So you're always worried about what's coming up. So I tried to put that into my writing, but being careful not to become too predictable.
In the volatile province of Britannia, AD 59, Venator, Roman equestrian one, follows Decimus, a seasoned centurion, and Luciana, a fierce Celtic princess, as they navigate a deadly conflict that ignites their mutual attraction. Bound by their passion for horsemanship but divided by loyalty, they must confront a growing unrest led by mysterious druids and power-hungry factions. Amidst the chaos of mounting casualties and political intrigue, Decimus and Luciana grapple with their volatile relationship and the relentless quest for control over Britannia's future.
Do you think that if you'd written the same story 20 odd years, would the story be the same? Or
Would I have considered historical fiction then? Probably not. I had an entirely different mindset.
Okay, James. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, and I wish you the very, very best of luck with Knight versus Bishop, and I look forward to reading it and to catching up with you again soon.
Just make sure you buy it, Paul, as everybody else should.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Don't worry. That's my job to support you guys.